The Five Nights at Freddy's series is in a state where we're waiting for lots of new content to explore within the story. As the Ruin DLC has just been released, a movie just around the corner, and also a new VR game not too far away, we have lots to expect. I've personally been a fan of the Five Nights at Freddy's series ever since its release back in 2014, even though I was a child and I was being forced to play it by my sister because she was too scared. She's 4 years older than me. I still somewhat enjoyed the excitement of having nightmares for weeks on end. Still to this day, I minimize my time walking around the house at night in fear that Nightmare Freddy is going to come and munch on my skull. That's besides the point. Five Nights at Freddy's is one of the most successful franchises in modern video game history. I can't tell whether Five Nights at Freddy's 1 was actually one of the scariest horror games of all time, or it's just that YouTube gamers were a different breed of special back then. I think it was extremely popular as the game is equally as fun just watching someone else play it rather than doing it yourself. And obviously when you pair that with oh my god! Oh! It's basically a recipe for online exposure. But where does that put us now? There's been countless games, mobile and console ports, books, clones, VR game, AR game, and now a movie, and another VR game? We have so much to look forward to. A few days before I recorded this, the new Ruin DLC has also just dropped on Security Breach, which I've painstakingly done all the endings for. However, I'm making this video instead of playing it. You're welcome. First, let's talk about the movie. So we already have confirmation on Josh Hutcherson being in the movie, which means it has a lower chance of being absolutely fucking terrible. I believe that the film's going to be 100% 10 out of 10 on IGN because the guy who's obsessed with murdering children is also Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. However, I'm the most excited to see Corey X Kenshin be a taxi driver, as I've always watched his content throughout my life, and having him being displayed to hundreds of people in my local cinema will be hilarious. If it even comes to my nearest cinema. I mean, it's an Odeon, so that means it's going to be played, right? The film's been in development since even 2015, which was 8 years ago. This is when Warner Brothers announced that they had acquired the right to the film. So if there's been years and years of writing going towards it, then hopefully it means that the film's going to be somewhat good to watch, as they only started filming in April 2023. So that means that there's been more than enough time to get the plot right. Another point here is that one of the writers of the book, or co-author, Kira Breed-Risley, however you pronounce that, has drafted the script with Scott Cawthon himself. I think this means that the plot is going to actually be good, as I myself actually read 2 of the books as a kid, and with my horrible attention span I managed to actually find them interesting, so I think that says enough. We can also learn from the trailer that one of the kids lacks a parental figure, as her drawings are not very good. In conclusion, we can speculate that this is because there's been no parent to tell her to give up on her dreams. I'm actually relatively excited about the new FNaF movie, as any horror film sounds like fun to me, especially if it's at the cinema. You want to know what I'm not excited about? Paying for it. Going to the cinema is such a pricey experience, especially if you want to actually get popcorn and stuff without being stopped and searched by a minimum wage teenager Odeon worker. I say that knowing I'm a teenager myself, however I don't care. I mean, it's from the producers of Megan, or Megan, for those sophisticated people watching. Alongside a well-received production company and enough money to buy a jet, $36 million for the funny film. This hopefully means that the general quality and the robotic narcissism of the animatronics is actually going to be impressive. I don't know why I'm getting my hopes up. It might not even come to the UK, which would suck. Enough about the movie. We're also waiting for a new VR game, Help Wanted 2, which is apparently going to be exclusive to the PSVR 2, which I can imagine will taint the sales of it slightly, judging by the fact that every child under the sun now owns an Oculus Quest 2. See, I have a Quest 1, because I bought it before it was cool. I hope there's actually going to be a story to this one and a whole lot more content, as the original Help Wanted was just a bunch of mini games thrown together, like disassembling animatronics, which I must say was absolutely terrifying. Also, the VR respins of some of the original games was so much fun to play. Another thing that I think is going to be cool is FNaF Plus. I've basically heard nothing about it, apart from the fact that it's going to be a remake of the original FNaF 1. I'm genuinely quite excited for how they're going to pull this one off, as the original game is probably the least scary for me, as it's the most recognisable and you aren't really unsure of much about how each animatronic functions, so having a whole new fresh coat of paint on the best-selling original would be so much fun to play. It's not just about the graphical improvements to the original from Scott in 2014 though, it's a whole studio game by Click Team, with apparently lots of new secrets and rare events, but somehow with a whole new interpretation of the original story. Also, it's supposed to feature a whole deal of new post-game content, which I'm mainly hyped for, as more content means more random shit to explore. Another thing to note about FNaF Plus is the mention of it saying don't let them damage any company property, which could be an interesting additional thing to worry about when shitting yourself in that disgusting, grimy little hellhole of an office that you have to sit in for 5 whole nights, maybe even 6. In conclusion, I think that the Five Nights series is long from being over, as it's sort of branched off of Scott's little game series and it's now a worldwide entity recognised by millions. So I'm hoping that Steel Wool Studios continues to move in the right direction for a little while before completely bleeding it dry of any sense of originality. However, that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.